Stillness is power. Power over what? Power over myself. Power over my mind. Power over my emotions. Power over my worry. Because the mind can't help but worry. It's like the newspapers. The mind's always got a problem. Always got something to worry about. Like the media's always got something to worry the people about. The murders, the mayhems, the rapes, the voting situation, everything to make the mind work and identify with the environment and man's making of the environment, his environment, and so we lose our stillness until we are able to be absolutely still, which is not, it's not that difficult. It only requires us to give up the constant feeding of the mind and emotions. You know, eventually, if you don't feed the mind and emotions, they're going to die. They're going to pass out. They're just going to disappear. That's what's going to happen to them, like anything that you don't feed. But we feed, and we are being taught by our environment every day more and more to feed our emotions and to feed our mind. And so it's so difficult today to reach the state of pure intellect. And yet it's so simple. Because if I stop feeding my mind and emotions in ways that we'll be talking about, I don't lose my mind. It's still there. But it's there as an instrument for me to use. It's not there as an instrument using me for its aimless thoughts, its stupid worrying, its wanting, and its trying. That's how it uses us. So when I am able to still my mind and emotions, I still have them there. I still have them there. In a very difficult situation, when the mind is still, there can still be a sense of vibration in the stomach, of a vibration of a sort of disturbance, but it's not a disturbance because the mind is the only thing that disturbs me, the mind and emotions, but it's in the body. And it can be there in an excessive situation, an extreme situation. But that's all right because it's there. It's not up here, you see. It's not driving my mind. It's there. Always in the stomach, you'll notice. And that's all right. Then you deal with the situation and gradually everything becomes normal again, equilibrium. So you don't lose contact with this registration of the environment and the interaction with people and things. You don't lose that. But you do lose the interpretation of it. And the interpretation is due to the mind and emotions. So this pure intellect is all you have, really. And all of you are using it more or less, and have used it, to be stiller and stiller, and to find a new way of living, which is not dependent so much on the mind and emotions. All of you have done that. But can you do more? Are you feeding the mind? Now, and emotions. Are you thinking about the future? Are you worried about the future? Because if you're worried about the future, then you're feeding your emotions, and that, of course, feeds your mind, because your emotions are the powerhouse of the field of the mind. The emotions drive the mind. As you've noticed, you get in an emotional situation, what happens? The mind won't stop thinking about it, will it? You've got the emotions down there, you've got a tightness, something in your stomach, and then whenever you close your eyes or you sit still, the mind tries to draw your attention to this pain and for you to interpret it. The mind wants to interpret the pain and say, what is this pain due to? Now let me tell you what pain is to me. Emotional pain we're talking about. Emotional pain is the same as any other pain in its way. It's an emotional pain. It's sufficient that it's there. Why do you have to know what's making you emotional? Why do you have to go into it? For God's sake, isn't it enough that it's there? Why? It is the mind that wants to go into it. And as soon as you start to go into your emotional pain with your mind, you're trapped. You go into this place of feelings, which is the place of the emotions, is in the stomach in the first instance. And as soon as you think that it's good therapy to go in there and find out what it is that's causing this pain, you're fooling yourself and you're interpreting it, and you're adding to the power of your emotions in your mind. Because I say that you know in the honesty of your own knowledge, you know what's causing the emotional pain. It's no good telling me that you don't know what it is. Because in most cases, you do know what it is, but you don't want to face it. It means your partner doesn't love you enough, or you don't love him enough, or her enough. And this is a background situation. You have a knowledge of that. You suspect it, but you're frightened, terrified of it. So, you say, I don't know what's causing this pain. But if you're still, and if you can look at your life with stillness, with the pure intellect, as much as you have it, you will see what is causing it without having to go to a therapist. That's if you're honest. For the other percentage of pain, that's emotional pain that might rise in us, isn't it sufficient that you have emotional pain in you? Isn't that sufficient? Why do you want to know where it comes from? Why do you want to know where it comes from? It might come from the terrible plight of someone who is suffering somewhere in the world because the psyche transmits everything. It might come from there, that somebody's suffering terribly, which you would never even know about in the psyche. It might come from there. Who knows? Without trying to personalize it, which we try to personalize everything, selfishly personalize everything, we make everything personal. You don't know where it comes from, and it doesn't matter where it comes from. The fact is that it's there. Now, what can we do about it? We can use the only power that we have. Now, there's two things that you have, remember. You have the mind, which is force and forceful, and you have the power, which is the relativity of the pure intellect as far as you have realized it. That's the power. So if you use your mind, you're going to contribute to the pain in your stomach, try and work it out, get into your emotions, and you're going to go deeper and deeper into depression and confusion. But if you use the power of the stillness that you have achieved, My goodness, many of you have been with me for years. And all of you have made progress in the process. All of you, without exception. There's no going back except in a phase where you have to appear to go back, but you never go back. Everything contributes to your stillness. Every day, every moment contributes by the way of the Most High, the Creator, the great intelligence, contributes somehow or other to the opportunity for you to become more still.